Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If not had the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsaying.no-GWJS for article and video updates. NFC Conference Championship, my friend, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great time for us on the East Coast. Game will end around like 9:30. So much better than 11:30. Love this. Great time. Before we get into the game, two great ones happened in the divisional round. Well, first, we'll just talk about the 49ers-Packers game, which was epic because the Packers lost. It was great. What a great game for Sean. But not the prettiest for a football fan.
No, definitely not the prettiest game. Not what you were expecting last week either. I mean, when we saw the 49ers beat the Cowboys a couple weeks ago, we were like, now they got to go and play in Lambeau. And it seems like they were ready for that. I mean, their defense did not waver against Aaron Rodgers. They didn't have, they had Devonta Adams taken care of. And that is just interesting to me because now, what they have to do this week is very different. And, I think what the Niners were able to do last week is just prove to us they can just really fight against a very competitive team. We really both had the Packers going very far in this one.
I mean, I expect them to just make the NFC Championship game. It was one of those things where the scene that they were having was so good. Devonta Adams was so good. They're at home and everything was just in their favor. It just seemed like the stars had aligned for the Packers at least to make another NFC Championship game. And I was hoping that they would lose in that one.
Yeah.
They didn't. But I think the Rams game, just to move on, because the 49ers game wasn't the prettiest by either quarterback, it wasn't the best game, stuff like that. And it's always fun to see a special teams touchdown, though, on a block punt, stuff like that. It was great. Yeah. This Rams-Buccaneers game was unreal. I mean, I thought towards the end of that game, in the fourth quarter, Brady did everything right. He put his team in the right position. It's tied 30-30. The play of Matthew Stafford's career on that bomb to Cooper Kupp, the 49ers now need to plan against. So it's like, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it was interesting, Brady was just doing his thing last week. The Rams were able to just, do what Sean McVay does, get to a commanding lead in the first half. They're going to have to do that this week as, we talked about, like, his record against Kyle Shanahan. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I mean, he gets that record of, all these wins above, when he leads at halftime. And I think that, last week they were lucky that they were leading by that much because Tampa Bay was able to score 24 points to their 10 points in the second half. So we need to see that Rams team from the first half more than we did in the second half.
Yeah, you got to maintain that for four quarters. Let's just jump right into this NFC Championship game. Yeah. The San Francisco 49ers make their way to LA to face the Rams. This is the third time this team is meeting, only the second time they've ever met in the playoffs. The first time was in 1989 in another NFC Championship game in which the 49ers won 31-3. So there's some facts for everyone. What are your thoughts coming into this one? I know you're just about to mention the record of Sean McVay against Kyle Shanahan, and tell the people what that is.
Yeah, so when, Sean McVay, obviously there was that whole thing about him and, Kyle Shanahan, being there, when it comes to, them so far, in the last, I think, 5 games, San Francisco has won all 5 games. I believe that Sean McVay is now 0-6 against them, if I'm not mistaken. So now it's prove to the Niners that you can beat them. But the Niners, as we said, are a fighting team right now. I mean, Deebo Samuel is like, give me this ball. I will do anything to, score for you, Kyle Shanahan. This team is built. They've been to the Super Bowl before. And they want to get back. But so have the Rams in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they're both having these huge Super Bowl hangovers, which is insane to be thinking about it, that they're in this position where one of them is about to go again. But the things I'm worried about in the last, like I mentioned, these two teams played each other twice this season. Stafford wasn't great in them. He has 4 total turnovers, 2 in each game, 4 total touchdowns. He did have 3 in the second game. That was a much closer game. But I don't know. I'm worried. He cannot turn over the ball. Cooper Kupp has dominated the 49ers this season, 7-118 and 1 the last time they met. And then the time before that was 11 for 122. So we know he's going to see the ball. We know that he can do well against this defense. Raheem Morris is really going to need to plan around him and get and stop him.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be really difficult to do so. But I don't know. This is a really interesting game for me because when you play a team for 3 times in one season, you have a lot of video on them. When it's your division opponent, you have tons of film on them. And I think this is one of those games where playbook is wide open. These are two really creative offensive minded head coaches. They've learned from one another when they were both in Washington. They are really just going to open up everything that they possibly have. And what we've seen from the 49ers in these games, which I think is really interesting, everything is going to go through Deebo Samuel. Of course, he's had over 90 yards in both of these games receiving, and he's run the ball for over 30 yards in both of them with a touchdown because he's a do-it-all guy. But Brandon Ayuk was a huge factor in the last game. He had 107 yards off of 6 receptions. Juwan Jennings was a huge factor. He had 2 touchdowns in the last game that these met. But the time before that, it was Kittle and Ayuk. So it's like they're really going to use everyone that they have. They just activated Mohamed Sanu off of IR. The Rams defense is going to need to really step up and be aware of what's going on in this game. There's going to be tons of motion. That's Kyle Shanahan way. So I think this is going to be tons of offense.
Yeah, tons of offense. San Francisco, they just, they can create so many different ways to beat you, and their defense is top 10 in almost every major category. You still have to go and score as many points as they do, even in a low scoring game like that last week. You can see that they have other ways to beat you. With the Rams, it's, man, like you said, Matthew Stafford really needs to be able to take care of the ball. That's like a big X factor here for me. Obviously, it's going to have to be on George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk to get it done. I mean, my whole thing is also, can Elijah Mitchell, be as productive as he has been? We've seen him get 20 plus touches the last couple of weeks, and without that volume, because, they could be trailing, to the Rams with the potential of the highest score. I mean, how comfortable do we feel about, the 49ers run game against this tough Rams defense? Like, the Rams defense is what's been getting them here.
I trust the 49ers. What I really have enjoyed about Kyle Shanahan and this team is their blocking scheme on runs is so much fun to watch. If you pay very close attention, guys are getting to the second level off the offensive line. They're creating these impressive gaps with different pulls and different techniques to kind of open up these lanes for these running backs. That's why every running back, it seems like every single year for the 49ers seems to just do really well. It seems like anyone can just enter in that system and get 100 yards pretty easily. And that's what makes Kyle Shanahan so great. And so I think you have to worry about Aaron Donald, of course, and guys like that. But they were able to put up over 100 rushing yards between Samuel and Mitchell last time. Then the time before that, they were able to put up another 100 yards against them. So I don't think they're worried about not being able to run the game. I think what you have to begin to worry about is the Rams go up, it's 14-0, it's 21-0 really quick. Can you trust Jimmy Garoppolo to drop back now? Because now you're forced to pass. You need to abandon your game plan a little bit, get some points on the board. Do you trust Jimmy to drop back tons of times and pass the ball?
Yeah, and we saw in the first game he did better in a game like last week where he had less pass attempts. That first game he went 15 for 19, 182 and 2, and he only got sacked once. And then, last time he got sacked 3 times, but he had 316 on 32 passes. It's like, they can beat you with both Jimmys, but if they fall behind, can he pick up that pace? I don't think so. I don't think that this is one of those defenses where you can expose mismatches because there's not really that many. And with Von Miller coming at you, Aaron Donald coming at you, Leonard Floyd, like this is a Super Bowl caliber defense. And the 49ers, I mean, they don't get me wrong, they can shock. But I think that if any year in history is going to be the year that Matthew Stafford gets his ring, Aaron Donald gets his ring, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller going to get another one, Cooper Kupp trying to get. I think that they went all in this year. I'm going to go with the Rams. But, man, it's going to be a really close game. I think a lot of people are underestimating the Niners coming into this one. But, Vegas has it at Rams favorite 3.5. I would take that, though. I think that, if they get a lead, I don't see Jimmy being Tom Brady having the ability to come back like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And one of the fun things about this game, by the way,
Yeah.
it's in SoFi Stadium. The last time that they were there, the 49ers won in OT 27-24, all these things. And there was just so many red jerseys that they've now worked along with Ticketmaster to ensure that there's a policy where it's only people in the greater Los Angeles area that can buy a ticket. So basically, if you're in San Francisco and you have a San Francisco area code, you can't buy it from Ticketmaster. But StubHub and other places are saying, nah, of course, you can let anyone buy the ticket. But I just think it's kind of funny and had to mention that. But I'm also locking in the Rams. I picked them the last time in this one, and they were this close. Sean McVay has been on the end of losing to Kyle Shanahan over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a moment where you say, enough's enough. You win the game that really matters when it comes down to it. So what if the 49ers swept you, if you were able to kick them out of the NFC Championship and bid your ticket to the NFL Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That's a great way to say, yeah, I'm 1-6 against you, but I defeated you in the moment that it mattered the most. And I think that I think that this is the moment for Sean McVay. And more so, like you were just talking about, you traded 2 first-rounders for Matthew Stafford. You went out and you got Von Miller. You signed OBJ. You have all of these stars on your team. If this doesn't happen, it is a major disappointment.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to be something that, we'll talk about if that's the outcome. But I really do think it's the Rams for this one. Cam Akers looks really explosive. Fumbled the ball a few times in critical moments against Tampa Bay. I expect him to not fumble so much, but he's been just lightning in a bottle. I am so impressed still by his cuts.
He's back, man, and he's healthy.
It's
they're
scary.
giving him what he needs, and he's playing like he came back from like an ankle injury. It doesn't look like he tore his Achilles, but I mean, man, they're on a warpath right now. I think Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. This is personal. This is going to be a personal matchup between these two teams. So. I mean, I do think that the Rams come out on top, but, the Niners have proven themselves as a team we got to watch out for in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some injury news. Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle for the Rams, was not in the divisional game, is going to be in this one. He's all good. Just another one to monitor. Trent Williams did not participate in practice at all this week. Kyle Shanahan has come out and said he's definitely going to play. That's the kind of guy that he is. But just something to monitor that he might be banged up in this game. Could be huge for Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller. You never know.
True.
But just something to monitor. He's a critical part to that team's success, and obviously one of the best offensive linemen that there is in the business and has been for quite some time. Only won his first playoff game just 2 weeks ago, which is crazy to say. So would be a nice storyline also if they make a Super Bowl with him. Just want to put that out there. But
I agree.
I'm locking in the Rams. That's all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, enjoy this game. This is going to be, crazy NFC divisional rivalry. Come and watch it. Check us out, justsayingfootball.com, Just Saying Football on YouTube, and Just Saying No GWJS for all your video article updates. And yeah, check us out. We're going to have a Super Bowl episode coming in a couple weeks, the award show coming in a couple weeks. We'll see you soon.
Tons more content. Enjoy.